we're just going to keep going through different phases of our healing. I'm back up here in Tahoe after a year and a half of not being back on the West Shore, which is where I lived for a couple years. And when I first came up here, I was just had come out of all of my severe chronic illness stuff, all of my Lyme, toxic mold, multiple chemical sensitivity, severe food allergies. Like, I had come to a point where I was able to move and able to even start to become a whitewater raft guide. However, I was still experiencing a lot at that time. So it was interesting because to yesterday when I came into town, I walked into the natural food store here and I was kind of walking around and I just felt so different. I remember walking into that store when I first moved here, actually even before I moved here, and I was just kind of coming up here, and I was looking at all the products on the shelf and stuff, and at that time, this was 2021, the early spring of 2021 when I moved up here. I was going to this natural grocery store and I was looking at, first of all, I really not started eating meat again. I was still not eating any dairy. I was still eating mostly whole foods and very natural, like extremely organic, still really checking ingredients on things. So when I was going into the store, there was a lot of things that weren't on my like safe list of foods, the things that I felt secure in my body digesting well at that time. So I was looking around at the products there because that used to be all the like natural health food stuff, all those like expensive little bags of like cookies that I could eat, and various things that didn't have like dairy and gluten in it, and better ingredients. That was like my entire like diet at that time, and my mind was still in that trained zone of looking for that stuff, checking ingredients, making sure things were safe and okay for me. And when I was walking through that store today, I was like, oh my God, I do not have like any of that anymore. Like, I'm just ordering a turkey sandwich on gluten bread with whatever came, whatever I wanted, going and grabbing that chocolate bar and a smoothie. So I was able to eat like literally whatever I wanted, whenever I want, wherever I want. And that was my affirmation for so long. And it's so funny how you have these moments because I realized that I was stressing about certain things recently, that I'd gotten into a mindset, something that didn't feel good for me. And I think sometimes it just takes those aha moments, or those moments of looking back and seeing how freaking far we've come, that we need that sometimes. I talk about improvement tracking a lot, and just like looking back at the little tiny increments, the little milestones that you have, and then eventually they become bigger and bigger and bigger. And so this was like a huge one where I had this comparison of this old me from 3 years ago, that I, in exactly the same place with a completely different physical body, digestive system, and everything. And it made me so appreciate where I'm at, because we're always wanting the next thing. We're always moving into the next thing. It's worries about, whatever it is. And we can constantly create that for ourselves. And for me, like, it hasn't been my physical state. It hasn't been, my body not being able to do things or process things in ways that are benefiting me the most. It's beyond that. It's other things that I'm allowing myself to stress out over. And so I was able to go back and kind of use that moment of that improvement tracking and say, like, oh my God, this is wild. And even just like noticing the emotions that were coming up being back here, and all sorts of, just a feeling, just an overall feeling like different. Now, I remember when I first like moved here, or even like honestly for like the majority of the time that I lived here, it was like that. I would just drive through the mountains, drive by the lake, and just be like, oh, like this is incredible, like I can't believe it. And it's weird because I'm now living in a place that's by the beach and by the ocean, and I got beautiful trees and mountains there as well. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like used to that, I guess, just used to this like immense beauty. Just like this being in the backyard of my friend's house, just like out to open forest here, and just like you get like, I don't know, it's almost like a depreciation or just like not feeling as much gratitude. And it just reminded me that, and I kind of recognized that this had happened just getting into the flow of life, into busyness, and realized that wow, like I need to ground down, go back to my gratitude, my, improvement tracking, just seeing and appreciating how far I've come, so I'm not so hard on myself. Because though it's not manifesting physically, I am noticing like mental aspects of things that could run smoother, that I could feel better in, like my emotions, the like energy in motion, emotions that are running through my system from my thoughts. And so I want to be able to be more cognizant of what my thoughts are. And I think when we go back to places we haven't been to in a while, it just really allows for that parallel to happen. And when I moved here, I was thinking like, oh my God, like my life, I was just so happy about so many things. Just like the fact that I could just get out and talk to people, the fact that I could drive, the fact that I could even eat the things that I was eating at the time, which was like incredibly more than what I had been eating just a year before I moved here in 2021. And it's so amazing how fast we forget these things. So improvement tracking is just checking into your journal and like just writing a little entry in your journal, just like a date, and like what you've noticed shifted, little tiny changes. Like for me, it was oh, I noticed I didn't have this rash on my face in this one spot that I had for months and months and months. It was just all of a sudden I noticed it was gone one day, and it was probably like weeks or months after it had disappeared, but suddenly I recognized that it was gone. Or I'm not having bloating in my stomach anymore, I'm not having cramping, or oh my gosh, like my body feels so much looser, I'm not having cracking joints, I feel stronger. When I stand up off the couch or off the floor, I'm not feeling like I'm gonna pass out. Like like little like things that like I would notice here and there. Oh, I can stand under electric light for longer before my sensory input is overstimulated to the point where it then wasn't. I still have days where I think everybody does, where they're a little more overstimulated than others, need a little bit more downtime. Like their body is asking for a darker place or even a brighter place. Sometimes I'm like, I need to turn all the lights on, and it feels good to have that all on. Noticing being in a restaurant and having music going in the background and people talking and dishes making noises and things, and not feeling fatigued after being in the restaurant. So there was all these little things that, tracking, you can notice and look back on and say like, wow, I can't believe that I haven't had this in so long. And when it feels defeating, when it feels like it's never ending, you can go back and read that and say like, wow, I am friggin' awesome. Like I brought myself to this point, and I can bring myself far beyond this. Like it is endless what you can do. Your capabilities are amazing. You are so freaking powerful, and it's literally just self-doubt within us. It's our sense of appreciation for our sense of well-being, our value for ourselves, and our worthiness. And like, am I worthy of these things? Am I worthy of being here? Am I worthy of all this? These are questions that everybody has to some degree, and sometimes we can get stuck on various versions of these. Or I have shame and guilt for these things like that, therefore I don't feel worthy because of these things that happened in the past. So these things are all gonna come up in healing as well. It's all part of the emotions, all part of the process of everything. And just recognizing that you have made it through 100% of your hard days. You are freaking rocking it. And there's going to be things to test you. It's never ending. That's life. I mean, that's the fun. That's the game of life. And though when it's like the entire life and it feels like it's all encompassing and you can't escape the physical pain of it, that's when we have that really tough teacher to say, like, all right, how are you going to get through this? How are you going to make it through? What are you going to do for yourself? How are you going to change things? You know, where do you see where you can make changes in things? And the mindset shift around, you know, I am worthy, I am capable, I am loved, you know, I have all these things that I can bring to the table, and maybe you don't even know what, you know, we never know what they all are. We continue growing and expanding on those things, but you do know things that you're good at, that you're capable within, however you want to say that, and just bringing reminders to yourself as you're going through this process that you're freaking rocking it. Bottom line. And I know that seeing the videos from people, for me, seeing the videos of people that had healed and were expressing these things and were talking about these hard days and how they got through these hard moments, and then seeing them on the other side was literally the thing that made me believe that I could heal. So I will never stop talking about this stuff and sharing the story in some capacity, because I know what it's like to feel that immense hopelessness and to be not really sure how to find my way out of it at certain points in time, you know. And so these were things that helped me, was really tracking my improvements, the tiny little things. I could, you know, take my noise canceling headphones off for 20 minutes while out in public before I had to put them back on, you know. That was an improvement for me for a long time. And then they get bigger and bigger, just tracking that, noticing how you're feeling in certain situations, and, you know, checking in with where your beliefs are. Where do I believe I am? Do I believe that I'm worthy in these aspects, but I'm working on feeling worthy in these other aspects? So yeah, those were things that helped me, that continue to help me. I think anybody can use these in whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's starting a new business, whether it's moving to a new place, whether it's, you know, going and, you know, meeting new people and feeling a little anxiety about like trying new things in general. There's just so many applications for all of this. You know, anxiety is a huge part of a lot of people's lives, and this is also something that can be used for anxiety too. So I hope that this video is helpful. Leave a comment down below if you made it to the end of this video. Just give me a thumbs up or a heart. It really helps with the algorithms in this. Also, please give a thumbs up or subscribe if you're not subscribed. You can tap the notification bell. These things just help me get the videos out to everybody else so that we can all connect here online. And let me know your thoughts on this, or if you've done any improvement tracking. All right, thank you for joining me here in the beautiful Tahoe forest, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.